Hello, it's Restaurant Review time. It's Saturday, March 20th, 2004. Can you believe that already? We just finished celebrating St. Patrick's Day this week and also yesterday the big St. Joseph celebration, a real traditional Italian Catholic festival. But we're here today to bring you what we normally do, and that's musicians and restaurants. And we're here, like you say, on Channel 77 from 3 to 4 with repeats on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Don't forget our website, restofyou.com, if you have any suggestions or if you'd like to be on the show or recommend anyone to be on the show, check the phone number and the address at the end of the show, and you can certainly give us any feedback you want. Okay, today we're very fortunate to have, our focus is always new restaurants. We have a restaurant, I believe it's only 3 weeks old, so can't get much earlier than that, and it's truly representative of New Orleans, and we'll get to that momentarily. But we always go and see our musical guests. Today we decided to bring back, if you didn't see our show last week, last week we did a little special on art. Rather than our restaurant, we brought in an artist, and she was able to show us a lot of her works. And she's presenting at that event that we've been talking about coming up next Friday. And we'll talk about it again near the end of the show to remind you folks in case you'd like to see us out there. But last week we had Miss Jan Bell, who, if you remember correctly, was originated from England, but had come to the United States through the Bronx, had a band up in Bronx, which she still maintains, and visits us X number of months a year. So she actually had 2 CDs, one that she recorded in the Bronx with her band, and a lovely CD here in New Orleans. So what we're going to do is let her, she was quite a distinctive young lady with kind of folk root background, which you wouldn't think with the British accent, but really unusual. We decided to bring her back, so you're going to see a repeat performance today from the musician, and we'd like to lend an ear to Miss Jan Bell.
Blues and I Miss My Sweet Missy Missouri, and they're both on my album I made in Brooklyn called No Country. I got my cowgirl hat, I got my city boots, guitar on my back, I got them country blues, country blues, country blues. Can't see the stars are shining, feel like busting loose. I see the Brooklyn Bridge and the Manhattan too. I see the East River flowing, baby. Down to you, down to you, down to you. I see the river flowing, baby, down to you. I see the mountain valley and the prairie sky. I can hear them coyotes howling, but it's all in my mind. Cowgirl sister down in New Orleans. When I say country blues, she knows just what I mean, what I mean, what I mean. Cowgirl sister, way down in New Orleans. I got my cowboy brother Matty, tall and lean, says come on up to Montana, be my country queen, country queen, country queen. Cowboy in Montana, mighty tall and lean. I see the mountain valley and the prairie sky. I can hear them coyotes howling, but it's all in my mind. I got my cowgirl hat, kick off my city boots. I'm gonna blow my stack riding some old caboose. I can hear them coyotes howling. Lordy, my sweet miss in Missouri. How we dance 'neath the Milky Way. To Ella and Nora and Cesaria Rivera in Missouri, one glorious day. I picture her there every morning with a doggy companion at play, with a swing in her hips, his name on her lips. I wish I was that doggy today, 'cause I miss my sweet miss in Missouri. Oh, to dance 'neath the Milky Way. To Ella and Nora and Cesaria Rivera in Missouri, one glorious day. Now I'm back in this beautiful city where all my dreams used to be. But I think of her and hear a soft angel band playing sweet symphony.
Very nice. That was Miss Jan Bell, originally from England, via the Bronx, via New Orleans. You saw one of the CD covers. That's New Orleans Country, that CD. So really nice, unusual sound for someone from England. Anyway, she'll be back for a couple more songs in her repeat performance today, and we look forward to hearing from her. Meanwhile, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, we've got a brand new restaurant for you. I think it's only a couple of weeks old. And if we were to give out prizes, not just us, but the city, for the catchiest play on words with regard to naming restaurant, I think this one would certainly win it. We haven't had a good name like this in quite some time. And we'll get a close-up on that. And the name of the restaurant today is Shell Shucked. Yeah, it's a tongue twister, folks. Seafood and Oyster Bar. And we're pleased today to have with us the owner, Miss Kelly HOTARD. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. Am I corrected? You're only a few weeks old?
Correct. We opened March 3rd, so it's just brewing on 3 weeks now. It's been doing very well.
For the people who don't know where she is, let's tell you the history of what's happened. First of all, their address is on, what's
1506 South Carrollton.
South Carrollton, which is right off of Jeanette. And what's happened is they're in the original site of another restaurant called Lebanon Cafe, which moved next door to a larger quarters, freeing this place up and allowing Kelly to come in and do a great renovation of the restaurant and a whole new theme. Now, Kelly, tell us, you and of course, the big chef, how you first got started with Bank in your other existing restaurant, because they have another restaurant less than 5 steps away from this one.
Originally, we opened Bay's Leaf in 1997, and then from there, we moved it uptown to 1438.
Right, on Metairie, right?
Correct. It was in Metairie on Transcontinental and West Napoleon. We had done very well there, but it was a very small space, so we needed to have a bigger space, which we did, and then coincidentally...
And you took over took over another one. This was Rick's Pancake, which is a great big old restaurant.
Much larger restaurant.
Right on the corner of Jeanette and South Carrollton, right?
Correct.
And you've been there since 97,
We've been total between both locations since
97.
97.
Okay.
So, but during that whole time, I've continued to want to find a smaller place to do a smaller scale seafood place. I feel like, especially uptown, the city was really lacking having oyster bars. You know, there are a few there. They're not always family friendly where they're true bars.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's really
you
nice.
really detected a void, because even though I live real close to Pascal Minnelli's, which has a lovely oyster bar, but again, most of that is related to Italian food. It's not the traditional family fare. It's fine dining, and you've got it at the level where everyone can go. We're looking at some cute little renovations on the outside, and the inside is so whimsical. Hopefully you can get a picture of that pretty soon. And it's almost like an indoor aquarium, but she uses that great whatever that royal blue color is throughout the walls, and we got fishes all along the line. What's really neat, on the ceiling you've got like lights and little fish lights as well. It's really cute.
We truly wanted everyone that came into the restaurant to get a good feel, whether it was a 2-year-old, a 20-year-old, or anyone. It's really fun. The lights, you do feel like you're walking into an aquarium.
Right.
It makes you feel really laid back. I mean, almost all of our outside tables, within a few minutes, the shoes are off and their feet are up. So it's nice that everyone feels at home. And we have we welcome our pets. We have doggy treats. Everyone that comes by, we've had our regulars come in and want treats for their pets. So it is definitely
right, because you got some great
out.
Tables right out. Doesn't show it in the picture, but some tables right out there on the sidewalk. Beautiful look, getting to see the streetcar and all the foot traffic. But you can start to see some of the inside, some of the interior walls, and those bright phosphorescent colors with just some great graphics of all types of seafood and fish that are in it. So it really is a heart-lightening place. It really makes you, like you say, excited and just anxious to be there, but in a real comfortable kind of setting. And you did hit a niche, because there's so few seafood restaurants in New Orleans, uptown, that relate to the traditional types of seafood. So I think, folks, you're really going to enjoy this place. We're so glad to see it open. Now tell us, what are you going to be your hours and your days opening, stuff like that?
We're going to be open 7 days a week.
7, okay,
from
great.
11 a.m. until 10-ish. We've been closing anywhere from 10. Last night we closed more like 11 until we're not busy is when we're staying open.
Sure.
We have bald seafood, bald shrimp, oysters on the half shell, all those hours as well, which is really unique, because I find some places only offer some of those things during certain times. Right?
Mm-hmm. We were going to talk about that later on during the thing, but it is an important thing, so you don't have to worry about being at a specific time for it, because they'll be out of it. Another thing that's really cute in here, I don't know if our pictures caught it, but they actually have what I call a community table, or a family table.
Right.
Obviously, this restaurant is very narrow and long, and to take advantage of, there's some center poles. They built a table straight using those poles, which I'm sure will seat almost 20 some odd people. Right. But it's just so fan friendly, because whether you bring a huge crowd or pockets of small people, it's just a great place to commune. About how many do you seat in the restaurant proper?
We can seat about 50 to 60 people, depending on how it's configured. And the biggest thing that was important for me with the community table, since we didn't have a true bar space, was that whether you were with your family or by yourself, you could easily grab a seat and not feel inclined to maybe take up a whole table. I know I dine out a lot by myself, so it's really nice to get in and be able to get out in a timely fashion at lunch or any other time. So the community table is definitely a neat idea.
It really is. It's a great. I always preached, being a single diner most of my life anyway, preached sushi bars for that same reason, because you can go in and not have to worry about getting a seat and not be relinquished to the kitchen door swinging in front of you and stuff like that. So I think it is a wonderful thing. Plus, it is something that could accommodate probably one of the largest parties if you ever needed it. So it really is.
Exactly, because in a small place, you really can't always, manipulate tables to go how you want them to go. And this is ready to go. You walk in with your family, and a table's always ready for you. So that's really important. And
they have a true oyster bar in the back, but of course, oysters can be brought out on the half shell. In fact, we probably need to go actually get started going in the menu. Don't forget, if you want to call and ask Kelly any questions about this great new place, the director will show you numbers on the screen, and don't hesitate to call about this restaurant or anything else you need to ask her about restaurants or music or about the show. But meanwhile, we need to get started so we can really tempt the palates of these viewers with some of your great dishes. We always start off with appetizers, and again, you've got a slew of them, but we picked 3 or 4 I think would really be representative. Now, you've got, is that the fried green tomatoes? Yes. Huh?
I think that's the avocado and crab salad.
Okay.
Actually.
All right.
But we can talk
Well,
about
let's talk
that
about
for a
that,
minute.
yes. We jumped ahead a little bit to the avocado salad. So this beautiful, there were two that really caught my eye. This one and the next one we'll feature, but this is avocado and crab meat salad. Doesn't that sound delicious? Let's talk about it, please.
This has been a really popular, all of our salads are served in a garlic herb salad bowl that's all edible. So this salad is a good way to have a healthy salad, staying with lump crab meat. There's a little caviar in that, and just general spices, a little oil, and fresh avocado. So this is a very healthy, quick salad. I put it in the menu to kind of cater to my own taste and didn't realize how popular it would be, and it was something this weekend that we just couldn't keep our hands on. So I think that it's very, very food friendly.
I think it's great for the ladies as well as the guys, especially the summertime. It's cooling, beautifully done, and there's nothing, of course, better than lump crab meat, and the idea of mixing with avocados, just really tremendous. Now, we have a couple of pictures of the different angles. I don't know if that's what we'll show next, since obviously we're a little bit out of tune, but let's go ahead and move forward there. I think that's the same, is that right?
Yes, that's the same salad.
Just a different view, but you can get to see how luscious it was. Great colors. Really, really a tremendous salad. So for right now and really all summer, this is a great salad to do. Now, if we move into the other salad, this is another one that really is phenomenal, called the soft shell crab salad. Is that it we got? Yes, huh?
This is the soft shell crab, which is a pan crab that's actually falling into our entrees.
Okay. So I apologize. These things were put in order, but for some reason they're out of order here. So, folks, you're going to have to bear with us today, and we'll just jump around. So the important thing is you're seeing great... here we go. We're back with the appetizer. This is where we should have started. This is New Orleans' famous fried green tomatoes. Now, you know, a lot of New Orleans restaurants do these, and a lot of them either use a cream sauce on it or just lump crab meat thrown on top. This has a unique variation that not only is light, but using indigenous Louisiana seafood. Tell us a little bit about it, Kelly, because it's really excellent.
I think it is. I think that's what's unique about it, is that we're using crawfish. The sauce only has a touch of cream. It's a much thinner sauce, and it's mushrooms as well. And like I said, you know, other places that I've gone, it's so typical to just have crab meat. So it's a unique twist. Having so much crawfish, you know, typically just not being in soups. The fried green tomatoes is amazing. This and even a side salad or a cup of gumbo is a perfect meal.
Especially for summer and spring right now. But really good is that many times the tomatoes will lose that crunch, and you really have it al dente. I mean, it's still get that freshness of it, so that crunch and crackle, along with the unique use of the crawfish and just a very, very light cream sauce, really made it very, very tasty. Okay, let's see if we can see another picture. We'll see if we go to our next appetizer. All right, folks, this is phenomenal. Now, this is something brought up a little bit above. As we said, this is a family seafood restaurant, but this is not one you normally find in the normal type seafood restaurants we talk about. This is usually at a maybe a little upper scale, but it's neat the way you brought it in, and that's your mussels. This is really well done, and again, you've got a nuance in the way you're doing it compared to some of the others. Let's talk about this beautiful bowl of mussels that have come out here.
Exactly. I felt the same way, that when I craved mussels, it was having to go into a bigger house or somewhere that was maybe more expensive, where for $8.95, having a huge bowl of mussels. Right. The mussels are sautéed in a white wine and caper sauce and served with French bread, and it's just very, very unique.
But one thing you forgot about it, this is the key to me, is you've got just acres and acres of cloves of roasted garlic in there.
We have cloves of garlic in everything. It's
but
amazing.
Specifically in this
but in this dish specifically, there are tons of cloves of garlic, and we, cook all of our garlic, grill all of our garlic in-house, and you notice that flavor throughout everything, where there's a nice
and served on a beautiful,
flavor.
like an armatel plate, a fish plate, and then across the loaves, I think it was French bread that you served us for. Got to have that to dip up that sauce.
Yeah.
Really great. So this is, as Kelly mentioned, this is something you normally find in the more upscale seafood restaurants. But that's what's good about it. There's no holds barred here at this restaurant. It's truly bringing to you the whole wide variety of New Orleans and other species of seafood. So it's really excellent. And now let's see if we can. We want to show you. Hopefully, this is great. This is some of your traditional shrimp. We're going to have a shrimp and then an oyster, your raw oysters, which you name. This is what. How do you prepare these shrimp? These boiled?
These are boiled shrimp. We use the same formulas for our boiled shrimp, and of course, I can't disclose those to you. But our boiled shrimp and our crawfish have. Last night we were just on weight with crawfish. Wow. It's unbelievable, and the way that you see all the silver plates that everything is served in, it's really unique. Everything's shaped as a fish.
As a fish, right?
So it's really nice to have your food come out that way.
Right.
The boiled shrimp are huge right now.
Running very large.
Very, very large.
And the crawfish are starting to catch up with them finally,
Crawfish as well, oysters as well. I mean, I've had people, even, women especially, they would prefer a smaller oyster almost because they're so big.
You're right, but I love it. In fact, hopefully with the next picture coming up, we'll show you like a dozen on the half shell. And you can see these babies are just the opposite. Us heavy eaters love that meaty, nice size oyster as opposed to those little pinpoint delicate things that most of the girls do. So it'll be a while, I guess, you get back to them. So this is perfect for someone who really enjoys oysters because this is really great in season and just beautifully done.
Beautiful, definitely.
Okay, well, let's move on. Again, she's got about 4 or 5 other appetizers, which if we have time, we'll come back and talk about those. But we wanted to show you just some of the real neat ones. Now, she does have a couple of soups, and we particularly put the one today was a shrimp and corn soup. Now, here's soup, again, another New Orleans soup that's all over the restaurants, but many times done as a white cream base, and also many times done with the fewest number of shrimp or pieces of corn you can find. I have to admit, folks, you're over-deluged with shrimp and corn in this soup. And tell us a little about the stock, because it was really delicious, not being that heavy cream.
It's made with a seafood stock, and it's interesting what I've learned about this soup. I mean, it's something that in my family, this was the way we had always prepared the soup. It was never with a cream. And speaking to quite a few of my customers in the past week that have had it, it seems as though people more from the Laplace to Baton Rouge area have had, their families have made this soup this way.
This way, right.
And I spoke to 2 couples that just were from the Gramercy area that said the same thing, that their soup was made this way. And I love it. It's lighter. It's just as spicy. It has essence of even a crab ball flavor. When corn is beautiful, we love to shuck our own corn and have fresh corn. It is a very unique soup, and it stays away from that heavy bisque soup, but doesn't lack in any other flavors.
Truly a lovely spice level. I was very pleased with that. Most of them are really mild, and it's got all the cream flavor. Here, just the opposite. So, folks, this is one that they have a wonderful gumbo called Mama's Gumbo, and we didn't picture it for you because it's also featured as an entree in a different presentation, which you're going to see later on. So that's why otherwise we would have been glad to show it to you up front. But we're going to show it to you a little later, and you're going to see something really unique. But now let's see. Normally we would go to the salads, but we did jump out of order. Let's see if because we had one more salad. Let's see if the other salad comes up, and we can talk about that. That's still the soft shell crab salad?
This is a soft shell crab entree. Mm-hmm.
The entree? Okay, no. Well, here we go. Jump to the entrees now. All right, well, folks, this is the thing we were just talking about, the Mama's Gumbo, but this is served as an entree over rice and with a beautiful fried soft shell crab. That's what you see about delving into that beautiful portion of rice. And tell us all stuff, and truly this is New Orleans' finest Mama's Gumbo. Tell us all the ingredients you got in there.
It is. There's from thyme to sage. We have fresh thyme right now, basil, bay leaf. One of the main reasons I decided to put the gumbo as an entree with the soft shell crab is because I'm always undecided between getting a cup of gumbo and something else, and this was a good way to make it an entree friendly. And the soft shell crabs are whalers right now. They're beautiful. They're huge. I mean, that's a 12-inch bowl, and the crab's taking up all the space. And
the gumbo itself is loaded with not only shrimp, crab meat, okra, and crawfish. Now, again, this is no meat at all, so it's great for Lent, even more so. But really, Kelly and I were discussing that she really wanted to stay traditional. Instead of putting meat in this way and having the mixed thing where some people, well, no, I'd rather have the seafood, or I'd rather have the chicken andouille or something like that. She kept it pure along the lines of the restaurant's purpose, and that's seafood. So it's got even crawfish in there. And it is an okra-based soup, so if you're not a real fan of okra, you might have to pull some of the okra stuff out of it. But for a traditional New Orleans flavor, and what a great idea to make it into an entree by putting especially this jumbo soft shell crab. This could not be more of a New Orleans dish than probably one of any ones we've seen already today. All right, let's move forward, see what else we've got. Now this is back to that salad. Let's move forward again, because that's the crab meat salad we've already talked about. Okay, what do we have here?
This is the sauteed crawfish tails on French bread, which is
one of the sandwiches. Yeah, we picked some sandwich entrees, and this is one of the really signature unique ones. Go ahead, it's sauteed crawfish tails on, and I know you have 3 choices of bread there, right?
We have 2 choices of bread right now. We have French bread, and we're also doing homemade bread, which those that are willing to kind of wean themselves off of French bread, the homemade ciabatta is delicious.
Oh, you make ciabatta? Oh,
it's
wonderful.
Delicious.
Well, this was on French, I believe, and here's a close-up of it, folks. Just look at a packed crawfish. And you saute them in oil or butter? Or
We saute them with a little chives and butter and a little olive oil, and that's all that they need. A little bit seasoning, but not too spicy. I was really tired of anywhere that I ever had gone that the crawfish tails are always fried. So this was definitely a big winner in adding it into our menu. It's been very, very popular.
I could see. In fact, when I was there, I told Kelly that the other restaurant we mentioned this morning, Pascal Manali's, has they invented barbecue shrimp, and they serve it the traditional way at night. But at daytime, you can actually get it my favorite way as a po' boy, where they take all the shell off, and and that to me, this is what this equates to. This is the sauteed or the barbecue, even though we're using barbecue term, of crawfish complement of the barbecue shrimp sandwich that Pascal Manali serves. So I think it's one of the best things you're going to find here, folks. Delicious tasting and unique to this restaurant. So definitely, whether you eat it at lunchtime or dinner time, it's a great po' boy, and lovely compliments on the side. Now let's see if we can find another sandwich, because this also was a big one. And this is if it comes up as okay, we're jumping back to the entrees. Look at the presentation. This is her coconut shrimp and rice. Tell us about this dish, please.
The coconut shrimp, I don't know what's more important anymore. The garlic potatoes, which we make in-house, they're amazing, and they have those same garlic cloves that we were talking about before, loaded with garlic cloves.
It's hard to tell.
You have to be a garlic lover.
Right.
And then the coconut shrimp, we have shaved coconut that's battered onto the shrimp, and they're lightly fried. There's two types of sauce that we use that's brushed over the shrimp. It's an apricot glaze, which gives you a little bit of a sweetness.
Sweetness, exactly.
And then we have a demi-glaze, which is a little sweeter, dark demi-glaze that is used with just a touch of dark roux, because we use dark roux and white roux a lot in our food. But this dish in particular is amazing. The garlic roasted mashed potatoes, as well as with our French fries, they're all homemade, so you don't get that out of the box.
You had your skins in there, which I love, because too many people are so pure. Today you can tell it's not made from scratch.
Exactly.
And it's a shame, like I said, the picture belies the fact that you're talking about a mound of mashed potatoes in between those shrimp. It's just beautifully placed. And as you mentioned, sprinkled with, again, I asked it with pinto batter because the batter is so fine. It's very, very light, but does have both the sweetness of the coconut and a little bit of the apricot glaze. Truly a beautiful dish for you to use, and so I think you'll really find it enjoyable. And let's see if we can go on to another one. This is that other sandwich we wanted to talk about, huh?
I believe this is the other sandwich. This is gone. This is the muffalata, seafood muffalata, which has oysters, catfish, shrimp, soft shell crab, all the above, and it's just amazing. I've had it a lot of different ways at places. I do love cocktail and remoulade sauce, so I couldn't decide which one was going to go in there, so they both went. And there's a lot of everything on there, and all of our sandwiches are served with blue chips, which is really unique. And
I was really glad you brought that, because I think we missed on one of the others, is that the tortilla chips, instead of being the normal, instead of potato chips, thank goodness, she's really chosen the blue corn chip, which to me is the most flavorful corn chip possible. Really is a great supplement. Go ahead. What else you wanted to say on that particular?
Yeah, the seafood, the sauce definitely on the seafood muffalata. The combination of the remoulade and the cocktail again it really makes it unique. Different from other places, the bread being homemade, all those things add up to really make it a unique sell. Been very popular.
Okay, and let's see if we've got any more entrees, and then if not, we're going to pictures, and we're going to talk about a couple others, because I know there's some others I wanted to feature that we didn't get a picture of. This is the gumbo we talked about, wonderful Mama's gumbo, all seafood with a giant, beautiful soft shell crab on top. And let's see if we have any more in all, because I think we had one more dish, did we not? Okay, well, let's talk about some of the others that so people will know some of the dishes you have. Let's go over a couple of the entrees that really you do all kinds of, like you do a pan roasted shrimp and oyster and a garlic sauce over rice. That's way out.
That's a really unique dish. It's a combination of a little bit dark roux and a little bit white roux. So you have this really nice light brown color. I'm not a big lover of black gumbos, those dark heavy gumbos. So this is a really nice brothy dish. It's served with rice, served with the shrimp that are sauteed with garlic, and again, garlic cloves all over the place with this dish as well.
Okay, and let's see if we take another one, because
the pan-fried crab, which we had kind of seen a few times, is very unique. The soft shell crab is lightly battered, and then it's seared, and it's broiled in an oven after that for about 10 minutes.
Oh, really?
And then we take a white roux and use that and saute it with crab meat and seasoning and pour that over that crab after it's been broiled. So you still get a little bit of that, battering somewhat, where you're not getting that heavy deep fried soft shell crab. And that has those two entrees have probably been our most popular. The shrimp and oyster and the pan fried crab is definitely first picks on the entree list.
Now, we do have an audience that is somewhat vegetarian, and I did notice that a lot of your dishes are seafood, so that's not a problem, but I did notice one that to me specifically certainly could meet their requirements, and that's your sauteed portobellos for an entree. Well, tell us a little bit about that. That sounds like a great dish.
We make it with, it's a fettuccine pasta that we use to saute, and we use sun-dried tomatoes and a sun-dried tomato pesto as well. There's a little bit of a cream in that dish, but still kept very light, because typically if you're vegetarian, you're going to eat a little lighter. That dish is great. I've had customers in the past week order it as a side for 4 people because it's so good. It really is. It's like
That's a neat suggestion.
It is. A lot of I've really encouraged people to get some of our sides or get that portobello pasta. On one of our other entrees, we use that same fresh pasta, but then we do it with shrimp and those big garlic cloves that we love and everything. So there's many things that are encouraged to kind of be the bread of the table, and the portobello pasta is one of them. If you're looking for a nice side of pasta, a cup of gumbo, it's a good thing to share.
Okay. All right, and she's got a whole bunch of. Let's pick a few more ideas before we move on. Let's go over some of the sandwiches for people. Again, we touched on 2 of the most unique ones, the sauteed crawfish tails and the wonderful seafood muffaletta. But you've got your traditional. You've got your oyster, you've got your shrimp, you've got catfish, a soft-shell crab sandwich.
We do. Our catfish is really unique. Instead of having just larger one pieces of fillets of catfish, we have concentrated on making our catfish a very thin catfish. And
that's my favorite.
You only see that in few places here.
Well, there's the big famous catfish, up in Manchac.
In Middendorf.
And that Minden, the only place I go because you can get it so thinly, it's paper thin. And
right.
So I'm glad to hear this. So I never order anywhere else because it's always a thick.
Exactly. Ours is. I don't like that heavier flavor that stays in the catfish, and it takes. When you're frying things, they need to be thinner, and it's not because you don't want the portions to be plentiful, but they need to be in and out of that fryer as quickly as possible. Sure. We put sesame seeds in our flour, which aerates the flour. Really allows the temperature to get into the seafood, come out of the fryer, and not have a heavy, greasy fried food.
Flavor. Yeah, you'll see it, folks. You'll see all these dishes coated with little. What are those little seeds? That's the sesame seeds doing the aeration for you, and plus it gives a little bit of crunch to it too as well. All right, and I know you have. Let's see what else we've got.
We have stuffed salmon. I forget about that dish.
Stuffed salmon. I didn't say. Oh yeah, baked stuffed salmon. Tell us about that one, please.
The baked stuffed salmon is very good, especially if someone. Everyone's on Atkins right now,
Correct.
So this is a great way. It comes with sautéed veggies. There's no fried food in it, no flouring. The sautéed veggies are just in a light olive oil with garlic cloves, and then the salmon, fillet of salmon, is opened and stuffed with crab meat. Just crab meat, and then it's baked. So it's a great, real clean, simple dish, but still getting some real nice, Cajun spices and things in there. Exactly. Last night we had whole red snapper that was averaging about a pound and a half or 2. It's delicious. You can do it baked. You can do it fried.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about fried. You have a fried whole fish, and I was going to ask you about what type of fish you're doing and what are you doing with that. So let's focus on that a little bit with the redfish. Did you? Yeah. I don't think you fried the redfish, huh?
You can fry the fish. You can fry the snapper, and it's beautiful. I prefer it baked. We're making right now a tomato leek sauce that we use a little bit of our broth from our crawfish ball and use that as a stock into our tomato leek sauce, which is amazing. I do think that when your fish stays about a pound and a half or 2, baking it or frying it, it's perfect. It's definitely something that you want to share with a few people. Baking takes a little longer. We ask for a little bit patience, but it's worth the wait.
Certainly is. Now, here's the only one you see, and only one dish is calamari. What are you doing with calamari? I only saw it once on the menu. Now, I wasn't surprised because that's always relegated to an appetizer or an Italian speciality, but certainly it's a seafood. Tell us what you do with calamari. That's sort of like the mussels on the higher end.
Right.
Yeah.
We decided to put calamari on, a dish for the reason that we use calamari steaks, which is a larger size calamari. And what happens is you don't get those tough tentacles. You're not getting all those chewy pieces where everyone stays clear of an appetizer. And the dish, our rings are more the size of like onion rings. and that's what allows it to be a much tender, chewable calamari. So it's important to keep it under the entree side. So I hope so far people that have tried it are very interested in why the rings are so large, and it's not something that you would commonly see, the larger calamari. So it's very, very good.
Okay. And speaking again of fish, which now, even though again started at the higher end, but now is more and more restaurants because of its just wonderful attributes and taste, and that's your grilled ahi tuna. Let's talk about that, please, because that's certainly my best.
It's beautiful, and it's the tuna that we're getting in right now is a sushi grade tuna. So I suggest people to get it as rare as they can stand, because it's a beautiful tuna. We do it on a salad. All of our salads too. We're staying away from I'm so tired of iceberg lettuce. It's so nice to see nice mixed greens, nice spinach leaf, a nice romaine lettuce.
Sure,
exactly.
Right.
So that's what our salads are. And the tuna, having it rare on a salad or having it as an entree, it comes with those garlic roasted mashed potatoes. Amazing either way.
Yeah.
Just as filling. There's not. People have asked, should I get a sandwich because it's dinner time? Everything has a good balance. You can really have anything on the menu at any time of the day.
That's what's really good about it, folks. So. And being open straight through. I know I'm a late lunch diner, so that's really good. And that's what many times you've missed the lunch special, and you got to go to dinner. But here, the ability to get all of these things at any time that you're open is really key. So we're talking to Kelly HOTARD. She's the owner of one of the best new name restaurants, we think, in the city, called Shell Shucked on Carrollton, right off of Jeanette. The restaurant is open for you 7 days a week, from lunch straight through dinner, featuring just the largest variety of seafood you're going to find, and some of the most unique as well as traditional dishes. This is what's cool. Even the traditional ones, she's showing some variations on that. And again, it's family friendly, with a little outside dining if you like. Bring your pets outside, because a lot of the people have the outside dining in those restaurants, so it's great for that idea. Very, very casual restaurant with a wonderful community table, so you can join with meet a lot of strangers or bring a bunch of friends. Their own oyster bar to serve them raw there, or you can, of course, have them served at any place on any of the tables inside. Really a fun new place, something uptown New Orleans that is certainly needed, and I think a lot of the college students, once they find out about it from the universities, are really going to go gung-ho, because they're all nuts on sushi, of course, and when they find out they can get this seafood here close to the university, instead of having to go, as you know, our traditional New Orleans seafood is way out there by the lake, where it's always been, and that's still wonderful, a trek. But for us who live uptown, there's no reason why we have to go way out there now, because we've got a spot that's very, very convenient, open almost any hour of the day for you to get the basics that we always need, whether it's just freshly shucked oysters or boiled crawfish, boiled shrimp, to any of the elaborate dishes, to just some of these really unique sandwiches. But again, even the salads, everything done in a light fashion. And one of the reasons she mentioned, not only the health conscious we are today, but of course she with her partner Bang, the chef from Basil Thai, as people know who've eaten Thai food, that's always very light, very health oriented. So they've kept that posture here in taking it to the New Orleans food. You've got all the great taste, but done sometimes in a little more lightly than what you've seen in the traditional thing, but without affecting the taste. A really unique taste. So that's Shell Shucked on Carrollton. Try them out any day of the week. What time do you say you open? 11?
11 to 10 all
11
day.
11 to 10, or later on obviously on weekends, depending on how crowded. Hopefully you'll be able to get in there. Once it gets real well known, I'm afraid the crowds are going to build just like any of the seafood restaurants. But right now, being opened only a few weeks, you can get in there and get whatever you like without even a wait. I went there a couple of times. Okay, folks, well, now we want to go ahead and send it back and let you hear from our musical guest. Again, we're having a repeat performance of the young lady who originally came to us from England via the Bronx in New York. She's kind of got her whole focus is on the roots of folk music and country music. And she's going to do us a second song, and let's take it and hear from Jan Bell.
My next song is on my first album, Between the Bridges, and also on No Country, and you can hear some of it on the Lullaby album, Songs for My Baby. But I did just move down here. I moved into the Irish Channel, and on my way here today they're celebrating St. Patrick's Day, and I was thinking that Robin's last little purple fairy there, I think it looks like he's been hanging out with some of those leprechauns. Anyway, this song, Across the State Line, I was more in the mood of Robin's version of The Scream when I wrote this one. 3, 4. I've been drifting town to town, been left in all the ups and downs. I've been here now so long, don't know if it's right or wrong. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been working all night, come home and all we do is fight. I told my mama I'd be gone a while, she gave me the saddest smile. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wish I had family across the state line, some old friend I've known a real long time. Friends and family are far away, I haven't seen them now in many a day. I've been drinking all day, I can't make things worse anyway. I've been thinking about the past, how time runs away so fast. Been trying so hard, still living off your credit card. Still here like this, dirty hands and broken promises. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wish I had family across the state line, some old friend I've known a real long time. Friends and family are far away, I haven't seen them now in many a day. Little sisters all grown, busy raising kids of their own, and I'm drifting town to town, lifting all the ups and downs, ups and downs. You were my blackbird, my bluebird, my redbird, my dove. We were birds, many colors, back when you were my true love, darling. In the darkness, I went calling out your name. Ooh, ooh. Blackbird, bluebird, redbird, in the dark, we were birds, many red bird and the dove. Many birds, many colors. Oh, love. Oh, love.
Very, very nice. And look at that beautiful CD cover. Huh? That's right. It was a beautiful CD cover. And as we mentioned, there's two CDs, one done in Bronx, and then one done here locally. So both of them very nice. Nice thought. I was kind of a slowdown from the first one, but still got the folksy sound on Blackbirds and Bluebirds. That was Miss Jan Balance. We'll revisit her one more time at the end of the show. But meanwhile, we want to go back to our lovely guest. We are speaking with Miss Kelly HOTARD of the greatest named new restaurant, Shell Shucked. I get it. You got to be careful there. On South Carrollton, right off of Jeanette. It's the latest new restaurant, only 3 weeks old. This is the second restaurant for Kelly and our partner Bank, who's the chef at Thai Basil, right there also on the corner of Carrollton. I'll get it in Jeanette. This restaurant is family friendly. Got all the New Orleans basic seafood dishes you could want in a really eclectic looking, I call it inside aquarium look, done real comfortable, great colors, real lively and upbeat, and open for you 7 days a week from lunch through dinner. Now, we've gone through a lot of the dishes. Don't forget, we still have a few minutes if you'd like to call and ask us any questions. Kelly be happy to explain anything more that we've listed or missed, because many times running through here we'll forget something. But if not, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about desserts and beverages, and then of course we'll talk a little bit more before we close out the show. Okay, let's. I think we've got pictures of 3 desserts here. The first one, I believe, is got a couple of cheesecake. I think this is your caramel pecan cheese.
This is actually the Banana Foster.
Oh, the Banana Fosters. Okay, sorry, we got them out. This is really one of their specialités. So tell us about the Banana Foster, please.
We kind of stayed with desserts, with cheesecake all the way around in our desserts, and with the Banana Foster, we wanted to have something that was still very time efficient. We have very little stove space, so we thought it would be unique to have, a dessert that could still get that same New Orleans flavor of the Bananas Foster, which is so popular here, but have it in something that was very time efficient, and this has been very popular. Hopefully in the future we'll have other desserts of this sort where they're made into pies and things that may not be normally served that way.
Right, but I think this has got a great, for those who like bananas, and for Banana Foster being a native dish, I think you'll find it a little lighter version, but still something very good. Now let's see if we can see our second one. Like I say, this is all 3 of them together, but I think we have another close-up. Well, let's describe the one in the front, please, and then that's the one I think I was alluding to, your caramel pecan. Is that right?
It is, and it's a good compromise between a traditional cheesecake but having a mousse pecan pie on top of it.
Right. And what's really neat is that you don't feature chocolate, but that whole crust at the bottom is chocolate, right?
It is. It's a
so it really has a wonderful flavor.
And with the caramel, I wanted to do something a little different than just having a pecan pie. I think this is a good way to have a little touch of pecan pie on top of cheesecake and chocolate. I don't think combining all 3 of those is that bad for us.
Well, my favorite is the one in the middle, and I think hopefully we have a closer up of that, and that is, there it goes, the strawberry margarita, I believe, cheesecake. This is really delightful, folks. This was so light but yet so flavorful. Want to tell us anything specific about that one?
This was definitely a pick because of the fact you're eating spicy food. You're eating boiled crawfish. Right. You're eating boiled shrimp. The last thing you want to do sometimes is have a heavier dessert, or even coffee. Sometimes this is a definite palate cleanser. It's very refreshing, very summery.
Almost like a sorbet. That's what I really enjoy.
It's like having a sorbet and a light cheesecake. It's very, very whipped and just really airy. So it's definitely something. So even if you're not in the mood to eat a lot of dessert, have a piece between a few people. Just to kind of get that pepper spice, from all of our seafood off of your tongue and call it a day.
And for our non-alcoholic friends, you can assay their fears that it's not really. They can get it without alcohol in it, right?
Right.
Okay.
They can. We'll spare them no alcohol
Good,
in that. And
good.
speaking of that, in our beverage category right now,
Yeah.
we do have our basics, coffees and teas and things, and we will have liquor, and hopefully the next few weeks. And at this time, we encourage everyone to bring their own wine or beer. We have glasses to
Excellent.
service your wine in. Bring
Yeah,
it in.
because a
There's-
lot of people got to have beer, especially with the types of seafood you serve. And
You
then,
definitely need a 6-pack and a dozen oysters at the same time.
Well, folks, you've seen that we've gotten 3 very light desserts. Like I say, not a big selection of desserts. They're saving it for the future. But with the multiplicity of seafoods, in from appetizer through entrees and sandwich to full plate dinners, you really don't need a tremendous selection of desserts. And what's good about all of these is, even though they seem sweet, they also seem to all be very, very light. So the cheesecake, very fluffy, not really a New York style, not something so heavy that you'd be filled. And I think it's a great suggestion because Lord knows after you eat all the stuff, you really, and the spices, you need something to cool down with. And I think this is a great way to do it without really being overburdened, being so full you can hardly get up from the table. Now let's see. Is there anything else you want to tell us about the restaurant?
No, I think it's just really important, that right now, just coming in for Bald Seafood is the winner. It's the season. It's Lent. Okay. Even if you're just stopping by to see the atmosphere, like I said, stop by, get a doggy treat, look at the place. It's a really unique touch to the city, as opposed to if you don't have a couple hours to spare right now. It's a quick place just to grab
great,
bites
especially
and
uptown. Especially now you can get it. Doesn't have to be just on Friday. Any night of the week you can come over there and get freshly shucked oysters or boiled crawfish, boiled shrimp. Really neat. I mean, this is something New Orleans Uptown has needed for a very long time. You've had maybe pieces and parts of this, like I mentioned, a couple of oyster bars, but not truly the whole situation combined into a really comfortable restaurant, and not something fine dining. When you're eating this stuff, you can't have the heavy white tablecloths and the fine dining. You really need something that you can dig in and really enjoy this type of New Orleans seafood, which is so indigenous and so typical of New Orleans. So once again, the name of the restaurant is Shucked on South Carrollton, opened 7 days a week from lunch to dinner. And we're pleased to have Miss Kelly HOTARD, and she's anxious for you to try it. And don't forget there are other restaurants, because we don't want you to miss great Thai food, and that's Thai Basil. I always get it mixed up. A wonderful representation of Thailand, only a few steps away on the corner of Jeanette and South Carrollton. So if you really want to go for Thai dishes, which of course is, again, featuring tremendously healthy food and wonderful spice levels, don't forget to try their other institution. Now, before we say goodbye and turn it over to Jan Bell, let's talk a little bit about some of the upcoming events. I'm not sure who we have on next week booked. As you know, we've gone through a couple of restaurants that booked and have had to second guess. We do have the first week of April coming on, a wonderful new restaurant called Peppers. And again, uptown in my neighborhood on a magazine near Napoleon. This restaurant did a trial opening during Mardi Gras, only opening the bar half, serving bar food at that time. But now it's full scale, lunch and dinner, with a great combination. And the chef has agreed to be on our show, I think, the first week of April. So watch for that, because recently we've lost another fine dining restaurant uptown. That was Kelsey's on Magazines, closed up. So we really needed something to replace it. And I think Peppers is going to do a good job to fill in there. Also, we want to remind you there's a couple others that we're still talking with on new ones, but as we mentioned, anytime that we run out of new ones, what we'll do is look for an established restaurant that maybe has gone through a chef change, or any type of change that would qualify it as a new endeavor for you to see and revisit. Meanwhile, we want to remind you one more time of that great event coming this Friday, March the 26th, between the hours of 4 and 7. We have an event called Bloomin' Friday. I'll be there. And Miss Kate Barkowski, who was really well received on the show a few weeks ago, she'll be doing the music. We have style shows from two ladies' coutures, and a gentleman. We even actually have a men's show from Style Lab up here in Uptown. It is in Metairie. It's at Grow With Us Florist, so there'll be a runway for male and female. There will be the musical accompaniment. There's some auctions, some door prizes. There's wines by, food by Vaqueros out in Metairie, and also tapas. So that's Grow With Us Florist at 143 Metairie Heights, Friday, March the 26th from 4 to 7. Look them up and give them a call in case you want to get any more information. It is free to the public. We'd love to see you there. We think it's a great, great place. You'll see some beautiful flowers, meet a lot of fun people, and have a good time on a Friday evening. Okay, well, what we're going to do is, as you know, we're here every Saturday from 3 to 4. Repeats on Wednesday and early morning and afternoon, and then late Friday nights. We're hoping, like I say, to be here next week with you with another new restaurant if we can finalize that for you. But don't hesitate to give us a call or give us any feedback if you want to see anybody on the show. We're always willing to entertain new. As you know, we now added artists to our retinue. So if you have a friend who's an artist, we would love to schedule a future show when a restaurant's not available, that we'll bring that young artist on and show his or her work as well as the musician. So we have all kind of variety here on what used to be only restaurants, had expanded to rhythms and now to artists, and who knows, we might be doing some poetry, some other stuff, just to give a little variety. Our whole focus here, folks, is to show the true facets of New Orleans, and starting with the leading factors, and that, of course, is always the food and the music. But we're not opposed to showing many of the other wonderful functions and arts that we have in New Orleans to really broaden our community, not only for the natives but also for the guests. Okay, well, enough of that. We want to say we'll see you here next week. It's Saturday at 3 o'clock. And we're going to turn it over one last time to Miss Jan Bell from England in the Bronx. And Jan's going to do her last song for us, and we'll see you all next week. Take it away, Jan.
The place I'm planning to go and eat tonight, one of my favorite restaurants in New Orleans, is Lola's on Esplanade, and their Spanish food and their seafood, their paellas and fidwas, so good. And anyway, but other than that, I was going to be joined by my old friend Samantha Parton, who we used to live down here together about 6 years ago, and we were called the illegitimate daughters of Johnny Cash back then. And this is a song actually that Samantha wrote, Samantha Parton. She's a Canadian lady, and it's called Lonesome Blues. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Some blues are just blues. Mine are the lonesome blues. Some blues are just blues. Mine are the lonesome blues. All the birds